Pre-order beta launches July 1st. If you're thinking of rolling a pet class in EverQuest Legends, there are probably some things you should know. Over the last month and a half, I've put nearly 2 weeks of playtime into this beta, testing out all the different systems and running the numbers so you don't have to. Remember, EverQuest Legends is in active development, and anything in this video could be changed, altered, or adjusted, even while editing this video. So, what makes pets different in EverQuest Legends? A lot of people are asking, is it one pet or do I get multiple pets? Currently, you can only use one pet. There is no pet stacking, and unlike in THJ where you have 2 or 3 or even 4 pets, you only get one. Every pet, regardless of class, is a warrior at base and gets Cleave as an AoE attack ability and can use all warrior wearable gear. On top of being warrior, each pet gets a secondary class, with monster summoning being the current exception. We will go over the pets in a moment, or feel free to skip ahead using the video chapters. Each one of these secondary classes on pets alters the way it behaves, and some of them have an entire spell line at their disposal, or even the ability to lay on hands or even harm touch. The pet inventory system. You get a base of 4 inventory slots, no matter what class you play, and additional pet inventory slots based on the classes taken in your trio. Currently, Mage gives you +3 inventory slots, Beastlord +3, Necromancer +2, Shaman +1, Enchanter +1, and Druid +1. No other classes give you any bonus slots. So if you pick Mage and Beastlord and Necromancer, you end up with 12 total pet inventory slots, and that's the current cap. This system allows you to put procs on weapons through exaltations and then equip them onto your pet, and your pet uses ratio logic to determine what the best weapon goes in main hand and offhand. You can also equip a 2-hander and a shield, or 2 1-handers. All worn gear must match the classes of your pet or of your character. Pet class breakdown. Now, I did a lot of testing on live stream, running the numbers, showing baseline how much DPS we can expect, and then gearing and buffing and seeing how much DPS we can expect, as well as how tanky the various different pets are. What you need to know is what the baselines are and how that reflects on the pet. So Beastlord Pet is a berserker in addition to being a warrior, and the max level is 39. No focus currently exists for Beastlords, and their pets do roughly 40 to 60 DPS, depending on buffs. They use the berserker skill Frenzy, which is less than reliable. This pet does not tank well, and I consider it pretty subpar damage, even completely buffed. Mage Pets. Fire Pet is a wizard, and the max level is 42 when you use a focus item, either the torch or the summoning staff of fire. It also casts Diamond Skin, Greater Shielding, Lightning Bolt, Fire Elemental Attack, Tishan's Clash, Immobilize, Shield of Fire, Fire Elemental Aura, Elnoric's Entombment of Ice, and if engaged with more than one target, it will occasionally even cast Rains. Fire Pet does roughly 63 to 100 DPS until it somewhat quickly runs out of mana, and then it will do a steady 60 to 70 DPS depending on buffs. The Earth Pet is a ranger and also caps out at level 42 with the Earth focus item. It casts Nature's Precision, Skin Like Steel, Grasping Roots, Searing Arrow, Tangling Weeds, Earth Elemental Attack, Burst of Fire, Light Healing, Fire Fist, Shield of Thistles, Stinging Swarm, Spirit of Wolf, Careless Lightning, and Riftwind's Protection. The Earth Pet does roughly 62 to 120 DPS until it runs out of mana, and then it floats between roughly 70 and 85 DPS. This pet is by far the tankiest and will heal itself and you. The pet will frequently try and apply multiple roots even if the target is already rooted. So it's very, very random as far as the DPS is, and sometimes even though he procs the elemental root, he'll still try and cast Instill, and he kind of ebbs and flows, but still the tankiest pet. Next up is the Air Pet. This is a monk, and again, maxes at level 42 with a focus item. It casts Air Elemental Attack, which is a stun, and uses Kick and Strikes. It has the smallest toolkit, but stuns actually help it more than you would expect in taking less damage and preventing casters from casting. It's not stellar DPS at roughly 60 to 80 DPS, depending on buffs, but it can help you with those pesky casters, and those stuns can sometimes come in clutch when there's a heal pending. The Water Pet, which is also a rogue, and again maxes out at level 42 with a focus item, it casts Water Elemental Attack, which is a DD, and backstabs. This pet doesn't tank as well, but its time to kill is so much faster, attributed to its 85 to 140 base DPS. This is likely the best mage pet option. I had initial ideas of Earth Pet taking the cake, and in some situations it does. But Water Pet just does more DPS and can get some really, really high roll backstabs, hence the high DPS variation. Now, you may think to yourself, oh, but I have to equip daggers. You actually don't. He will backstab even if you give him two-handers. But it does take into consideration backstab bonuses. So if you're looking for high damage DPS, then you want a high backstab piercer. Next, we get into the Necromancer pets. Shadowknight, max level 42, and that's with their focus item out of Plane of Hate. They cast Life Draw, Engulfing Darkness, Disease Cloud, Harm Touch, Canceling of Life, Shadow Vortex, and it kicks, bashes, and will proc a Terror Tap, which is just a life tap. It's an undead pet, and while it isn't as tanky as the other mage pets, the life taps actually make it deceptively long-lasting in fights. It can tank really well and keeps itself up pretty easily. Does a respectable 61 to 80 DPS compared to the other pets. Damage increases when out of mana. The Shadowknight pet is a pesky little excuse for anything, and it maxes out at level 25. No focus currently exists for this pet, and it will cast Life Spike, it will cast Engulfing Darkness, Disease Cloud, and Harm Touch. It's here, and does roughly 20 to 30 DPS. It has such a low hit point pool that it gets killed from a single riposte, damage shields, and AoE spells alike. Don't bring this one on a dragon fight. One breath, and it's toast. Enchanted Pet. Paladin. Yes, that's right, Paladin. Its max level is 39, and there's currently no focus item that exists for this pet. It casts Daring, Lay on Hands, Greater Healing, Stun, Root, Cease, Desist. It kicks, it bashes. This pet heals you, it buffs itself, it Lay of Hands, it tanks like a champ, and does a respectable 60 to 100 DPS depending on the buffs and whether or not it has mana or no mana. This guy is probably the MVP of all the pets. He's just so damn strong. Last up is the Shaman Pet. It's a Beastlord, max level 36. Most people are going to pass this off as useless. But let me tell you, this one's a good one. Casts Inner Fire, Spirit of Wolf, Frost Dagger, Drowsy, and throws out the occasional Disease Dot. At a whopping 40 DPS, this pet's real thing to note is that it casts slow, and its dot actually stacks with your dots. When it runs out of mana, and it will run out of mana, it actually ramps up its DPS to about 50 to 60. The current alternate abilities that impact your pet, emphasis on currently, because they could add something in or change something at any point, and it's likely to happen given the state that pets are in. Mages receive Companion's Fury, which is a 1 minute 30 second cooldown with a duration of 1 minute and 6 seconds. It gives you 50 AC, 15% overhaste, 20 strength, 200 attack, gives your pet a 5% chance to flurry, and a 10% accuracy boost. This is a huge buff to pets, and with extended enhancement, you can even keep it up 100% of the time. Also Mage, Conjurer's Efficiency, which has 5 ranks and removes the Regent cost for summoning pets. Unbound Companion, which is also Mage, has 3 ranks, and it auto-grants as you level, for +2, +4, and finally +6% crit chance for your pet. Beastlord brings Hobble of Spirits, which is a permanent pet buff that gives you a snare of roughly 40%, and it has a 150% bonus chance to proc. There's some archetype pet buffs as well. Pet Affinity lets your pet receive group buffs and bard-style songs. It also is Companion's Discipline, which is another archetype, allows use for Pet Hold and Pet Greater Hold, meaning that your pet, if it takes damage, it won't engage in combat and it'll just follow you around. Mend Companion, which is a 10-minute cooldown and heals your pet for 5,000 health. Roughly a couple of good ones here, but nothing really to brag about. I really think that it makes Mage kind of auto-include if you want your pet to be doing any real damage. Companion's Fury is just way too strong. Outside of that, there's really not a whole lot that's just auto-include. The current available pet summoning focus items are the Mage Soul Row quested focus items. These work on pets level 1 to 50, and they include the Shovel of Pawns for the Earth Pet, the Broom of Trillin for the Air Pet, the Stein of Elissa for the Water Pet, and the Torch of Alna for the Fire Pet. Mages also get a Staff of Elemental Mastery from either Plane of Hate or Plane of Sky quest, and the water drops off from Finnegill. And those only work on your pets of level 46 or greater. And as far as I can tell, they have no additional impact on your pet whatsoever. They just provide them with +1 level, which gives them a little bit of health, no recognizable damage, and maybe a pinch more accuracy hitting higher level targets. The Necromancers receive an Encyclopedia Neclothurgia, which works on the level 48 pet only, and no lower pets at all. Literally only works on the 48 pet. Pretty good. Again, just gives it +1 level, gives it a little bit extra health, and relatively easy to get. Plane of Hate off the Bone Drakes. So, what are my recommendations? Well, the best pet for leveling, probably in this order, is Enchanter, Earth, and then Water. So, basically, if you're not playing an Enchanter, you're not using that Paladin pet, then use Earth. And really, Earth is going to shine if you have it tanking. And if you don't have it tanking and you're just looking at DPS, Water's the way to go. The backstabs and the casts, really, really good. If you're grouping with other players, definitely bring that Water Pet out and just use that Water Pet. If you're not using the Water Pet, the Necro Pet is actually pretty strong, and then I'd use the Enchanter Pet for that support and stuns. Now, this is going to be a little bit of a controversial topic, and I'll be curious to hear what your guys' input is. So let me know down in the comments and tell me why. Don't just say this pet sucks or that pet sucks or this one's good or that one's bad, but I think, honestly, the most underrated pets are the Necromancer and the Shaman Pet. The Necromancer Pet is actually really durable with the life taps. I was really surprised. I actually timed incoming damage on the pets just to see how long they would last in a fight. And I tested them against the level 51 warrior mob outside of the arena just to, again, make sure that I was testing on the same thing. It was the same level and see how long each pet lasted. And Necromancer surprisingly was up there. What was also very surprising is the Shaman Pet. The Shaman Pet slowing, that thing was able to single-handedly, without even me casting a heal on it, tank Vox, D0 Vox, but still, I didn't have to do anything. It slowed Vox on its own, and it proceeded to tank it while I killed all of the other adds that were up. Freaking crazy. My overall feeling on pets, they're not in a great place, but they can still be fun. It is ultimately going to be up to the individual on if they want to play with pets or not. but they won't be the primary or in most cases even a secondary consideration. The state of Beastlord Pet is bad to terrible. It's supposed to be a DPS pet and it barely can hit the broadside of a barn. It's just not worth it. The class provides a great buff to pets with its procs and the best heals, but that's about it. It also has a pretty good haste, but you'll likely be running the Burnout 3 anyway. I actually tested the pets against level 50, level 10, and even level 60 NPCs just to see how the hit variance was and see how the damage variance was. And I'll tell you, against the level 60s, I was actually really surprised to find that it didn't really appear all that different from the level 10 as far as hitting and accuracy. So what I'd like to see them do to balance pets is include more focus items. You have some real opportunities here where you could create specific items with specific focuses, and I think it could be really fun to implement upgrading pets to give them either a third class to alter their power a bit, or give them that focus that increases not only their level, but their overall mitigation and their overall accuracy. The real problem here is they're not landing their hits, and sometimes they're throwing out rounds that are 4, 5, 10 hits, and all of them miss. That feels terrible. If you really want to make pets work, include a shaman. Getting that slow out there, either from your pet or casting the slow from your character, is substantial. If you're not doing a shaman, then think about Enchanter, because again, slow, Tash, and the Enchanter pet is ridiculously overpowered. I frankly think that also including a flat 12 pet inventory slots across the board, maybe you could have them unlocked per player level or include an AA that unlocks more and more. But as it stands, I really don't understand quite why the inventory slots are the way they are. Enchanters barely getting any seems a little weird. Necromancers getting less than mages and beastlords also seems a little weird. A pet is a part of their core mechanic. It may not necessarily be the tank, but part of their fear kiting mechanic, and frankly, their pets moving forward past level 50, is that they have different roles and they're kind of Swiss Army knife. They should get the same utility and same opportunity as a beastlord or a mage. What do you guys think? Let me know what kind of builds you're thinking of and what kind of mechanisms you're thinking about. I'd love to hear it. Thanks for watching, guys. Take it easy.